My Adventure in Norfolk by A.J. Allen. I don't know how it is with you, but during February my wife generally says to me, "Have you thought at all about what we are going to do for August?" And of course I say, "No." And then she begins looking through the advertisements of bungalows to let. Well, this happened last year as usual, and she eventually produced one that looked possible. It said, Norfolk, Hickling Broad, furnished bungalow, garden, garage, boathouse, and all the rest of it. Oh, and plate and linen. It also mentioned an exorbitant rent. I pointed out the bit about the rent, but my wife said, "Yes, you'll have to go down and see the landlord and get him to come down. They always do." As a matter of fact, they always don't, but that's a detail. Anyway, I wrote off to the landlord and asked if he could arrange for me to stay the night in the place, to see what it was really like. He wrote back and said, certainly, and that he was engaging Mrs. So-and-so to come in and oblige me and make up the beds and so forth. I tell you, we do things thoroughly in our family. I have to sleep in all the beds, and when I come home my wife counts the bruises and decides whether they will do or not. At any rate, I arrived in a blinding snowstorm at about the most desolate spot on God's earth. I'd come to Potter Heigham by train and been driven on. It was a good 5 miles from the station. Fortunately, Mrs. Selston, the old lady who was going to do for me, was there, and she'd lighted a fire and cooked me a steak, for which I was truly thankful. I somehow think the cow, or whatever they get steaks off, had only died that morning. It was very obstinate. While I dined, she talked to me. She would tell me all about an operation her husband had just had. All about it. It was almost a lecture on surgery. The steak was rather underdone, and it sort of made me feel I was illustrating her lecture. Anyway, she put me clean off my dinner and then departed for the night. I explored the bungalow and just had a look outside. It was, of course, very dark, but not snowing quite so hard. The garage stood about 15 yards from the back door. I walked round it, but I didn't go in. I also went down to the edge of the Broad and verified the boathouse. The whole place looked as though it might be all right in the summer-time, but just then it made one wonder why people ever wanted to go to the North Pole. Anyhow, I went indoors and settled down by the fire. You've no idea how quiet it was. Even the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?